be empathic, and connect to other human beings. So healing modalities, and I think very much breath work, often access the right part of our brain. We go into a little bit of an altered state, meaning altered from our normal left brain functioning area. And so healing modalities often access this right part of the brain, and we want to then unite it, because it's also important for it to the left brain to make conscious sense out of the material that emerges. These two parts absolutely have to work back and forth. So bioenergetic model, which we started off today looking at, and there's a little bit of a difference when you bring attachment work into it. So you see that it's not just reaching out for pleasure, that there's a biologically driven need to attach. We need love, touch, nourishment, connection, etc. Again, met with repeated caregiver failures. Again, this is not one-time or infrequent failures. This is chronically repeated caregiver failures. Leads to a disconnection from yourself and others. You shut down your own authenticity because you shut down your access to feelings. So you shut down your ability to really feel your feelings, to feel your needs, and you can't be authentic. You can't be authentically yourself if you're not able to feel yourself. So then the child forms adaptations to this chronic unfulfillment, leading to chronic nervous system dysregulation and the body armoring. So, oh wow, it's already 10:40. Wow, time flies. Okay, we're just gonna go through a couple more slides and then we're gonna move on to our first character structure. So various character types represent different survival patterns, and it's reflected in our body. We have areas of weakness, tension, disconnection, and through working through the body and understanding the body, we're able to see the ways that we learn to compensate from our disconnection from our needs and our life force energy. And this protection was absolutely protective when we were children, but unfortunately now as adults, it's very limiting to us. Absolutely needed at one point, it's not probably needed anymore, because we're no longer helpless children who need to rely on their parents for love, safety, and survival. So last thing we're going to say right now is, as you start to become more aware of character types, it's very easy to start kind of trying to pigeonhole people. Oh, that person's schizoid. Oh, he's such an oral person. Oh, what a rigid. Don't do that. Don't approach people as your character type, as a character type. Everyone is an individual who has anxieties and traumas, and against which they have erected certain typical defenses. And I underline typical because there are some typical ones, and then there'll be things that you'll come up that you'll see that are so not what you suspect, but fit into the overall pattern when you look at it. And why we look at character structure even, because it allows us to get an idea of someone's deeper problems and help free them. And this goes back to the right brain part. These deeper problems, often because it is the model of the world that they grew up in, they don't recognize them because it's the only thing they've ever known. It's kind of like having a fish describe water. Well, water is the only thing the fish has ever known. It doesn't know how to describe this. Water, can you describe air? So when you're working with this right brain part that has formed these neural connections around the way people are and relationships are and the human environment is, there's going to be a lot of blind spots. They're going to recognize some of the things that are not working for them, but they're also not going to recognize a lot of them. And so we're working to help free them from these restrictions. Now, each type has special patterns of defenses on both the psychological and muscle level. Again, this is a classification of defense positions, not people. And finally, nobody is a pure type. Everyone on this call, everyone combines different degrees within their personality of some or all of these defensive patterns. So as we go through them, you're going to see yourself. You're going to see elements of yourself in each one of these character types. And you'll see elements of these in everybody that you know. And then everyone has their own unique combination. And usually at least one, if not two, is predominant and more active in the world. Okay, so now we are going to take a 5-minute break. So if you have any questions during the break, write them in the chat box. I'll answer them when I get back. And I'll go ahead and stand up, get a drink of water, get a bite to eat, shake your body a bit. This has been a lot of material, and I will see you in 5 minutes. Okay. Sorry, folks, we're going to back up here for a moment because I forgot to start the recording again. Hold on one second. Okay, so schizoid structure, developmental period, prenatal, the first 4 months of life, and it develops as a result of early shock or attachment trauma, the feeling of not being welcomed, of not being wanted here. And to manage the pain of this early trauma, they disconnect and live in their heads. And why was there such pain in their early life? Well, the mother may have been abusive, hostile, rageful, and there may even been a feeling that they weren't wanted in the world, that perhaps the mother or the father wanted to abort them and not have them come into the world. Another possibility is eye contact and physical contact between the mother and child was avoided or interfered with. And we just remember those slides we just saw showing how important that eye contact is. And in that infant strange experiment, when the mother, her stare just went blank and her face was expressionless, how disturbing that was to the child. And by child, I mean the infants in this experiment were all under the age of 1, I believe. And perhaps it wasn't even that there was emotionally the mother didn't want to connect, but perhaps physically the mother couldn't connect. She might have been really ill, or the child could have been really ill. There could have been trauma or early birth, premature babies that are incubators. There's all sorts of reasons for why that attachment was not able to form as securely as we want it to. Maybe it was a really threatening home environment. Drugs, alcohol, or there could have been some traumatic circumstances, political oppression, war, and then perhaps the parents were resentful of the child's presence. Maybe they didn't really want to have the child. The child literally may not have been wanted, and the child can absolutely feel that. Or perhaps the parents really just wanted a perfect baby, and somehow this child did not meet up to that expectation, and so was greeted with disappointment or avoidance. So physical appearance of the schizoid. Ocular blocks. We talked about the ocular segment. These ocular blocks are really common in the schizoid person. They have a lot of times vision problems because they don't want to see the coldness or hostility. Their expression in their eyes could look kind of frozen or terrified. They could have like wide eyes. They kind of always have this wide-eyed look about them, or feeling kind of flat. There's like a disconnection. You can